Hi, this is Jacqueline with Nickel and Dime Decor. Thank you for joining me today. I want to do something kind of fun today, and I've got the sniffles, so you'll have to excuse me. It's raining, and rain doesn't agree with me. We're going to make a little rug. You're just going to have the most fun. I made this little rug 8 years ago. It's held up very well. Now, it's never been washed because it's in my sewing room and nobody walks on it. And so I don't worry about that. But it is made on a Rubbermaid shelving paper liner. Isn't that not a kicker? But it sews wonderfully if you use the slicker side on the bottom, so that your machine can go through the machine. It will not go on the other side. I tried it with this one that we're going to make today, and you know, it has a lot of grip, and it would not, you know, even with my walking foot and a jean needle, it wouldn't go. I mean, it did if I just really pulled, but it didn't make real straight stitches either. So we're going to do it like I did this one. And if you're worried about if it's going to go on a hardwood floor or tile floor or something, if you want to just put that industrial type in double-sided tape, that orange, that's got the orange lining on it, just put it right here in the corner and right here. Just make you a little, put it on all four corners, you're good to go. No problem. It goes under the machine well. You can roll it up when you get to the middle. It's easy to work with and just a lot of fun to make. So that's the one that I made. And of course, you can tell these are jelly roll strips. And you just weave them in and out. Put your longer strips. It takes 20. Mine rug is going to be 20 inches wide, so I put 20 strips. And then they're the length of your jelly roll strips. I didn't cut them until I had them arranged the way I wanted them, and then I cut the top off even with my shelving. And then about 31 strips to go across. And you will have so much fun if you'll just try to do this. Okay, I'm going to put the camera down and show you what I've got done. I'm making this for my great-granddaughter. And it's got to be pink or purple. So this jelly roll works great. So this jelly roll is going to be, it's just a good little, I was gifted this jelly roll by some friends. Most have two ladies, you know, that give me a lot of their fabric that can't sew anymore. So anyway, I picked out the arrangement that I liked the best of them. I hot glued up here at the top, not hot glued, with a fabric stick. I glued these down to hold them, and also to get my lines straight. And then I went back and did a real scant 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch, and sewed them down. Then we will just simply take our shorter strips. My rug is going to be 31.5 inches long. And these strips, and it's 20 inches wide. You can make it any size you want. These shorter strips, I cut, I think they're, I don't know how long they are. 20 for whatever. They're longer than my rug, but that's okay. We'll trim it when we get through. But I didn't guess I need to go back and tell you how I did my strips. I just sewed them together on a serger, but you can zigzag them, you can do a straight stitch, whatever. Then iron them and iron them like that. They will, since I serged this, you know, it took up a little more space, so these aren't quite 1 inch wide. But it'll give you kind of an idea, you know, just guessing. If this is 31.5 inches that I'm going to need, probably 31 of them, or 30, give or take, or whatever. And then all we're going to do is start weaving in and out, in and out, in and out. And of course, how we do that is just under, over, and just go through. And I don't know why I have to think about it some. It's hard to talk and do it. But you just whip it right on through. Don't go pains to straighten it. We're going to straighten it in a minute. Now, snug it up as close up there as you can. And just try, because I've got my fabric glue on here, I can't go all the way up to the stitching. So, and that's okay. Sorry for my sniffles this morning. We've had rain out the kazoo, and see there? This one's wrong over here. Now, that's right. And that rain doesn't agree with me. Isn't that terrible? Makes my nose go haywire. Okay. And you just try to have them, let's see, I'll get a little, see if I can find a little ruler. And that is about, well, let's say 3/4. So just kind of eyeball it and make sure that they're all just about 3/4 down. And then, when you're ready, do your next row. And of course, you're going to do the opposite. I kind of just went dark, medium, light. But then I kind of got lost what I was doing, so it really doesn't matter. Just make sure it's balanced and it looks good. Now on these, I am going a darker and then a lighter. So this time I will go over this one and under this second one. And then you just continue and get all this done. Now this time you can snuggle it up there because you don't have your hot glue up in the way. I mean your glue stick gook in the way. So see, we can nestle it better. It's okay that this is not as close up here because we're going to put a binding on it. So that's okay. So I'm not going to let you watch me just do all of this. That would be silly, but you just keep your strips smoothed out and out of your way. And there we have our first two. It is just going to be darling. I think it's really going to be a cutie. And we'll come back in a minute after I've got it all done. And don't worry if there's, you want these strips to just be budding together. If they overlap a little too much, but once you start over here, just keep them as close together as possible. And this just keeps smoothing it out, pulling it down, smoothing it out, pulling it down, and pulling this up. And you just proceed, and you just do the whole rest of it. And when I get them all done, like I said, we'll come back. We will sew these down. I'll show you how I did it. We won't sew it all down, but we'll show you how I sewed it down. And then we'll put a binding on it, and that's it. You can do this in an afternoon. It's just the simplest thing, and it's going to make a little girl. Well, it's all put together, and gosh, darn, that's just cute as a bug. I've got them clipped all the way around, but I wanted to advise you to do this on a cutting mat so that you can use the lines to do your strips straight and match them up on each end. And that way you don't get lopsided or curvy or anything. And it really helps to have that measuring underneath you and use it to make straight strips. But that's the sum of it. And now, in just a minute, I'll be back. And what I'm going to do is just run a stitch all the way around the sides, like I did the top up there, where I caught it. And I'm going to do the other three sides and just do a 1/8 of an inch and secure it. And then we'll put it back under the machine and start our zigzagging down the rows. And I'll show you how to do that. Looking good so far. Okay, we're ready to start our zigzag. And I'm only doing it on the bottom piece. I'm not going to do the top, because going this way, I'll do that side. So get a hold of it back here, because it doesn't just go real good by itself. That's just the facts of the matter. Let me make sure I'm at the right starting point. Pull your threads. I'm starting here, so, and I'll have to put my arm, well, once I get going. Just pull it until you get to your top piece here. You just pull it out and go to the next. It works. It's just, it just doesn't want to do it on its own. But it does work just fine. Now, when I take this out, if you can't see exactly what I'm doing here, and try not to move your rows. Try to keep them, straight as possible. make sure you're not on that top one, and I was, so I have to move it up. And this is the most time-consuming part of the whole thing. So that's what I say. If you don't want to do them all, just do however many you think is going to secure it. Can you see our stitches? And that's what you do. And just, it's kind of like quilting. That's the most time-consuming part of it. Then you just clip your little threads here where you traveled over. And that's it. And just go down. Oh, that's supposed to be tucked underneath. Come undone. So just travel. Figure out what you want to do. If you want to do every other row, whatever. If you want to do each and every one, you do each and every one. This rug is not going anywhere and will be very, very secure. And will last you for many, many, many years. But if time is of the essence and you don't want to do that much work, why, maybe every third row or something. And when you go this way, when you go the opposite way, maybe every other row, whatever you want to do. But if you've got the time, please do every row. You will benefit from it. And see how I used a thread, and the name of it was oyster, like a pearl and an oyster. And it's the palest pink that it almost looks white. So that's going to work real good since I have so many different pinks. So that's all you do. After I get all of this done, I'll show you how to put on your binding. Thanks for watching. I want to do a real close-up so you can see. I've got every single row up and down done, and I would recommend you doing that every single row, because you want this to last forever and forever. So disregard what I said about doing every other row or every 3 rows. You really need to sew them down so they stay. And when you put this in your machine, when you're going up and down this direction, you can start here at the edge and work your way to halfway. I counted my rows, and I'm going to go to row 13. And then I'm going to take it out, put it on the other side, and start from here and go to row 13. And because that way, when you're doing this and you get down to about right here, you can just fold this under and guide it, because you're going to have to guide it like this and put it through. And remember what I said earlier, a jean needle or a denim needle or whatever you want to call it, a big needle is what you need. And then when you go long ways, I advise you to start in your middle and go out, turn it around, put it back in, start at the middle, and go out. And that makes it for easy movement and free to do. Okay, now I've already got my binding sewed on. And I did it backwards. I sewed it on the back side, because if you stop and think about this, you can't put your binding on the front like you ordinarily would and turn it over, because I can't hand sew to this. That would be literally more than I want to do. So I sewed it to the back. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to sew it down, just covering my stitch, and I'm going to sew it right on the edge, and I'll be through. And it'll look very, very neat. I'll have a picture of it, the finished product. Now, if you are unsure about putting on a binding, I have on my YouTube channel, Nickel and Dime Decor, I have a video called the Yellow Brick Road Quilt Series. And I think it's either 4 or 5 that I do an in-depth, part of my video is in-depth of how to do a binding on a quilt. And of course it applies to this also. So if you really want to know how to do the corners, miter your corners, it's all on that video, and it will help you tremendously. And then we're done, and this has been the there's no such word as funnest. This has been the funnest video. It's just a lot of fun. Now, it is bundlesome, and it is kind of hard to maneuver under here, but it's worth your time to take your time and do all of this. And it's this little, I think she's 4 or 5. This little 5-year-old is gonna love her new, they have a new house, and she has her own little bedroom, and I think this is gonna go perfect in her new room. So, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you will like my channel and you will subscribe to it. I always tell everybody, if you want to subscribe, put down in the comments, I subscribed, and give me your state. I think it's so neat to see where everybody is from. I really enjoy that. And again, please try it. It's just been so much fun.